Hello everyone, welcome to lesson 3 of Google Sheets for Beginners. I am Eric, also known as Hollywood Frodo around these parts, and today we're going to be talking about the formula bar as well as the menu bar in Google Sheets. So let's jump right into it. Just as a reminder, go to that cogs wheel, the bottom right of the video, so your video settings on YouTube. Make sure you're in HD because you want to be able to see everything clearly. And also, if I'm going a little slow for you, don't forget you can change the speed playback of this video there as well. All right, so I'm going to jump out of the way here because you don't need to see my ugly mug for this entire thing. And we're going to jump over to the spreadsheet and talk about first the formula bar. So the formula bar is this thing right here. This is the formula bar, and it's called the formula bar because it will show you the formula if there is a formula, but I like to also refer to it as the content bar. It basically shows you what is in a cell. It could be text or a number, or it could be a formula, which could be useful for you to know. So we're not going to be covering a lot with formulas in this class. At the very end, I'll do a little basic stuff on simple formulas. I will do that, just very simple basic stuff. But let's go to funds right here. So you can see there's a name and there's an amount paid and amount owed. If I click into the name up in the formula bar, you see that's the contents of the cell. Billy, amount paid 5, up here it's 5. But if you go to amount owed, you can see there's not a 5 in that cell. 5 is what's being displayed, but it's actually a formula. So clicking inside of a cell can show you if what's inside there is just the data or if it's a formula that is displaying that data. And that can be important to know because if you were to just copy and paste this information, if it's a formula, then it might not paste the way you would expect. And it can. It just depends. There's different ways you can do that, and that stuff we'll get to a little bit later on. But I just want to show you right now, that's what the formula bar or the content bar is. It shows you the contents of the cell, the entire contents of the cell. It also can be useful. Let's go over to drivers, and you'll see this cell right here, drivers must have, and then it gets cut off. You can't see what's else there because the cell right next to it has content in it as well. So if you click that though, now you can see the entire contents of that cell. That little cell contains all this text. Drivers must have insurance and a license in order to drive for the field trip. So that's why the formula bar is handy, or the content bar. It allows you to see the entire contents of what's in a cell, what is actually in the cell. Because when it comes to a formula, there's a number that's being displayed in that cell, but that is not the contents of the cell. The contents of that cell is actually a formula, which is when that executes, it gives you what is displayed. And so, good to know, formula content bar, just how you can tell exactly what is inside any single cell. So the second thing we want to talk about is menus and a menu bar. So you have these menus up here, the menus that you're used to seeing, file, edit, insert, and we'll talk a lot about what different options are available to those. And then you have this singular shortcut bar down below, which is very useful. And if you need to see more of your spreadsheet, Google made it so that you could hide this space up here, since it's a lot of empty space. You click this arrow on the top right and it will hide the menus. You still have access to your quick buttons, but you don't see the big menu space. So I'm going to click that. It's now a down arrow, so if I click that now, you'll see it takes up quite a bit of space. So let's get rid of that real quick, and then let's just quickly go over some of these things. These are very basic things that you can do. This is the undo or redo. So you can see it undoes or does. So if I type and hit enter and enter, if I undo, it undoes that typing. If I redo, it redoes that typing. So very, very simple. Print is for printing your sheet. We're not going to talk about all those settings This is a paint format. We're not going to talk about that. We will talk about zoom. If you need to see closer in, you can zoom in to 150. With a small spreadsheet like this, we don't have much information. Why not zoom in so you can see it better? So you do have that option to spread in or out, zoom in or out. Now, format as currency. So if we went to funds and we highlighted the amounts, and we could, now it makes it dollars. And you could change that. You could go to food, and maybe this is the percent. Instead of the number of apples, it's the percent that we have bought already. You click percent, it changes it to a percent. These are crazy percentages, but it's there. And we're going to talk a lot more about formatting later on. This is just basic stuff. You can increase or decrease decimal spaces. So let's undo this. Let's change this back to plain text. You can see we've really manipulated it a lot. So we're going to do the undo and get it back to where we want it. And you see you can increase or decrease decimals. So you increase decimals if you want decimals there, or you decrease them. Then you have more formats. There's just a lot of different formatting you can do with numbers and time and different things. We're not going to talk in depth about those right now, but just know that is what that is. You do have your default fonts, so you can change fonts to whatever font you want to be in there, and you can see it changes the font. And then these are things you're used to. Font size, you can make it larger or smaller. You can make stuff bold. You can make stuff italic. You can strike through. All those basic things. You can change the, this is the color of the text. So the letter with the color underneath it. So you can make those red. You can see it changed to red. Fill color, that's the background color for the cell. So you could go in here and change the background color. Generally you do that for headings and things, but it is an option for you. We'll go to highlight that and go to reset, and that will clear it out. This is for the borders, so if you're making a chart, if you're using this to make a chart, you could highlight it and you could put borders in there. And there's different ways, different formatting for that. I'm going to take that away. We're going to talk about that later on. You can do things like merge cells. We'll talk about that later. You can align things. So inside of a cell, you could have it aligned to the left, to the center, or to the right. Right here, you can do vertical alignment. This next one is for how you want things to, the text inside of a cell to overflow, wrap, or clip. And we'll talk about that later on. You can also have directional within a cell, the way the text appears. And then you can do hyperlinks. If you need to put a hyperlink inside of a cell, you can insert a comment, charts, filters, and functions. Functions are like formulas. All that stuff is more advanced stuff. We will touch a little bit on that. Not filters. Filters we're going to touch a lot on, because filters are my favorite, absolute favorite thing about spreadsheets, in the simplest way that anyone can use spreadsheets effectively. So we're going to talk a lot about those in a future lesson. But in this lesson, just wanted to show you that you could hide that main menu if you wanted to, and then B, just introduce you to this bar and the way you can use it to just do easy formatting, as well as undo and redo, which are the two things you'll probably use a lot along with the basic formatting here. Anyway, that's going to be it for this lesson, lesson 3 of Spreadsheets, Google Sheets for beginners. Hopefully you're following along well, and I'm trying to go at a pace that I think will be a good and not cover too much information in every lesson. There are a lot of lessons, so we're going to cover everything, but I'm trying to cover just a few things in each lesson so that it doesn't get overwhelming and you can go at your own pace. That's going to be it for this lesson. If you have a question about something I covered, put it in the comments below. I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. Don't forget to click that like button It's helpful for me. Also subscribe to my channel and especially favorite this playlist to keep up with future videos in this series. Feel free to look me up on other social media sites as well if you want to. Just search for Hollywood Frodo, you'll find me. Anyway, that is going to be it until the next lesson, so have a great day.